Convening has arrived. The Senate will come to order. At this time, I ask all unauthorized personnel to exit the chamber. I recognize the senator from the 28th. To reading of the journal.
Good morning, Mr. President. Hope you had a wonderful weekend and you're ready for this great week we're going to have. And to start off the week, we got a great lineup of pages. And those pages are Ginger Myrick, Hollis Tate, Sawyer Mathis, Tyson Mathis, Rohan Pupala, Nathan Estrada, Blair Huddleston, Robert Little, Aubrey Smith, Camille Fry, our very own senator from the 35th's grandson, Ryan James, Lane Bridges, Joshua Willingham, Rhea Havanor, Anna and Sarah Richard, Ben Hulbert, and Sophie Walker. So thank you, pages. Look forward to working with y'all today. And just if y'all need anything, please grab the senator from the 48th here, and he'll be more than happy to help you. So thank y'all to our pages. Y'all give them a round of applause. Mr. President, on this day in 1884, the United States adopted Standard Time. And in 1954, the Braves' Bobby Thompson broke his ankle, and he was replaced by none other than Hammer and Hank Aaron. And in 1961, our very own President Pro Tem, John F. Kennedy, sets up the Alliance for Progress. 1983, the 24th SEC men's basketball tournament, Georgia beat Alabama 86-71. And that may have been the last time the Dogs won a basketball game. Today is National Napping Day, K-9 Veterans Day, Earmuff Day, Donald Duck Day, Brain Awareness Day, Brain Awareness Week, and it's National Bubblegum Week. Mr. President, the journal has been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator. What year was that, the Georgia basketball team? What year was that?
That would have been 1983. I think we had the human highlight film probably was on that team.
Dominique, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's been a long time for Georgia basketball, hasn't it?
It sure has. I didn't even know we had a team.
Is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. All senators who have bills and resolutions introduced, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. We have the first reading and references to Senate bills and resolutions. Secretary.
Senate Bill 294 by Senator Burns of the 23rd, a bill to be entitled an act to provide a new charter for the town of Kamek to provide for incorporation boundaries and powers of the municipality.
Local government.
Senate Bill 295 by Senator Gooch of the 51st, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of Lumpkin County to levy an excise tax pursuant to subsection. Senate Bill 296 by Senator Halpern of the 39th, a bill to be entitled an act relating to the Department of Public Health so as to provide for the appointment of a state surgeon general to provide for qualifications and duties to provide for related matters. Senate Resolution 293 by Senator Halpern of the 39th and others, a resolution creating the Senate Study Committee on an Equity Impact Tool for legislation and for other purposes.
Rules.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
First reading references the House bills.
House Bill 542 by Representative Mathiak of the 74th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to repeal an act to incorporate the city of Sunnyside to provide a new charter.
State and local government.
House Bill 587 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to be entitled an act providing for the election of the members of the Board of Education.
State and local government.
House Bill 609 by Representative Bentley of the 150th, a bill to be entitled an act providing for.
State and local government.
House Bill 610 by Representative Bentley of the 150th, a bill to be entitled an act changing the number
State and
of.
local government.
House Bill 619 by Representative Houston of the 170th and others, a bill to be entitled an act providing
State
for
and
election.
local government.
House Bill 622 by Representative Gamble of the 15th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to provide a homestead exemption from
State
certain.
and local government.
House Bill 632 by Representative Crawford of the 84th and others, a bill to be entitled an act providing a homestead exemption from
State and local
certain.
government.
House Bill 633 by Representative Crawford of the 84th and others, a bill to be entitled an act providing certain homestead exemptions from City of Decatur ad valorem taxes for certain residents of said city as amended,
State and
particularly
local
by
government.
House Bill 634 by Representative Crawford of the 84th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to provide for the new homestead exemption from City of
State and local
Decatur ad valorem.
government.
House Bill 635 by Representative Crawford of the 84th and others, a bill to be entitled an act providing a homestead exemption from City of Decatur ad valorem taxes for certain residents of said
State
city.
and local government.
House Bill 645 by Representative Yurta of the 152nd, a bill to be entitled an act to provide a new charter for the city of Sylvester as amended so as to
State and local
authorize.
government.
House Bill 649 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing for the compensation of the members
State
of
and
the
local
county board.
government.
House Bill 671 by Representative Reeves of the 99th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an
State
act
and local
providing.
government.
House Bill 672 by Representative Reeves of the 99th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from all City of Sugar Hill ad valorem taxes for city purposes in the
State
amount
and
of
local
2,000.
government.
House Bill 673 by Representative Reeves of the 99th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to provide a homestead exemption from the City of Sugar Hill ad valorem taxes for municipal
local
purposes.
government.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Children and Families has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 76 do pass by substitute. House Bill 460 do pass. House Bill 509 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd District Chairman. The Senate Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 77 do pass. House Bill 139 do pass. House Bill 176 do pass. House Bill 186 do pass. House Bill 327 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. The Senate Committee on Public Safety has had under consideration the following legislation, has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 120 do pass by substitute. House Bill 175 do pass by substitute. House Bill 188 do pass by substitute. House Bill 541 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers of the 56th District Chairman. The Senate Committee on Rules has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 373 do pass. Senate Resolution 115 do pass. Senate Resolution 138 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Brass of the 28th District Chairman. Senate Committee on SLOGA has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 277 do pass. Senate Bill 285 do pass. Senate Bill 291 do pass. House Bill 596 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator again of the 47th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read bills and resolutions for the second time.
House Bill 142 by Representative Maynor of the 56th and others, education establishment of unified campus police forces through agreements by colleges and universities provide. House Bill 162 by Representative McDonald of the 26th and others, income tax, one-time tax credit for taxpayers who filed returns for both 2021 and 2022 taxable years provide. House Bill 242 by Representative Hitchens of the 161st and others, Georgia's Drivers Education Commission, violation of traffic laws or ordinances under Joshua's law, provide additional penalty. House Bill 268 by Representative Corbett of the 174th and others, Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Motor Vehicle Related Crime Prevention Initiatives, Established Grant Program. House Bill 311 by Representative Smith of the 70th and others, ad valorem tax, optional temporary tax relief to certain properties located in nationally declared federal disaster areas provide. House Bill 482 by Representative Saines of the 180th and others, income tax credits for establishing or relocating quality jobs provide clarification. House Resolution 66 by Representative Gamble of the 15th and others, General Assembly, motor fuel and diesel fuel taxes ratified Governor Brian P. Kemp's executive orders. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, y'all. Ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 5th, 35th, 44th, and 34th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 5th, the 35th, 44th, and 34th are excused. Senator from the 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask Unanimous consent to excuse Senator from the 4th for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, Senator from the 4th is excused. Senator from the 2nd. Are there any other motions to excuse? Secretary will call the roll. Senator, signify your presence by voting yes with. Secretary will unlock the machine. It is now time for the morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats and cease all audible conversation. I would ask the doorkeepers to secure the chamber at this time. I'd like to recognize the senator from the 11th to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and introduce our chaplain of the day. Senator?
If you will, join me in the pledge of our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To our Georgia flag. Pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, moderation, courage. Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's good to be here, and it's an honor to introduce our pastor of the day, a great friend of mine, Andy Cashwell. Andy is originally from Americus, Georgia. He attended Auburn University and graduated there in 1986, and then went on to Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, where he obtained a Master's of Arts degree in 1992. He also holds a Master's of Divinity from Liberty Baptist Theological Seminary as well. Andy is the current pastor at Mount Olive Baptist Church in Moultrie, Georgia, and has been there for the last 17 years. However, Andy and I began our friendship a long time ago when he served as the youth minister at First Baptist Church, Moultrie, Georgia, which he did prior to being the pastor at Mount Olive. Andy is married to Miss Dana Cashwell. They've been married for 36 years. They have 2 sons, 2 outstanding daughter-in-laws, and I think they have 4 grandchildren, and just found out they've got another one on the way. So I know he's excited about that. But I consider Andy a great friend. He actually married my wife Emily and I 17 years ago, and I know as a young teenage boy we challenged his patience growing up, but he continued to lead us down the path that we should go, and I can't thank him enough for that. So it's my honor to introduce the Reverend Andy Cashwell.
Thank you, Sam. I've known Sam since he was a 7th grader, and if you need to know anything about him, just see me later, okay? I want to read to you from Luke chapter 24, and I want to give you a message of hope. And there is hope. And as a Christian, I find hope in the resurrection. Luke chapter 24, starting in verse 30, this is part of the story of one of the post-resurrection appearances of Jesus. He appeared 7 times after the resurrection, and this is after he appeared to the disciples and the 2 men on the road to Emmaus. It says, "Now it came to pass, as he sat at the table with them, that he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. And then their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished from their sight. And they said to one another, "Did not our heart burn within us while he walked with us on the road and while he opened the scriptures to us?" You know, can you imagine the shock that these men must have felt after they had just buried Jesus 3 days earlier, and then there they saw him in flesh and blood? A few years ago, this little dog showed up at our house, and he was a little black dog. He looked like a Labrador retriever, but he was really just a mutt. My son Stuart named him Thomas, and we grew to love that dog. He was a great church dog. He was a wonderful watchdog. See, we live right by the church, and so Thomas was always watching out. And if somebody came up, like a plumber or an electrician, well, Thomas let them know he was there. In fact, if anybody came up with any kind of facial hair, Thomas was likely to bite them. But Thomas was very gentle with the children at the church. And one day, I was sitting in my office, and my wife called me, and she said, "There's a problem. Thomas, you need to check on Thomas." You see, our neighbor had called, and she said that Thomas was down in the ditch. And so I made the trip. It's about a mile from our house, and he had been wondering, I guess. And I got down there, and there, sure enough, in the ditch, there was Thomas. So I went over there, and I lifted Thomas, laid him on the tailgate of my truck, and took him down into the woods. And I had grabbed a shovel on the way because I knew this wasn't going to be good. So I dug a respectable hole and put my little dog there in the hole, and I covered it up and had a moment of silence. You know, I thought, well, I'm going to miss that little fella. Then I thought, well, the guy that cuts the grass at the church, at least he'll get off my back about Thomas. Thomas won't be digging in the flower beds anymore and leaving deposits on the lawn. So I got back in my truck, and I rode back to the house, and I'm promising you, I'm telling you the truth. When I pulled in my driveway, in the flower bed was my dog Thomas. I'm serious. I was shocked. The first thing I thought when I saw Thomas sitting there was the shock that these people must have felt when they saw Jesus alive after the resurrection. The second thought I had was, I just buried somebody else's dog. And then I didn't tell you this, but Thomas had a unique character. He only had 3 legs. How can a guy bury a dog and he doesn't notice he has all those legs? I should have noticed it was not my dog. Well, I can't imagine how those disciples must have felt when they saw Jesus resurrected from the grave. You know, Roman historian Tacitus tells us that there was a man named Jesus who was born. He tells us the details of his death. He even tells us that Pilate participated in the trial. There's a Roman historian named Josephus who tells us about the life of Jesus and tells us about the death of Jesus. There's almost no atheist historian that would deny the birth, the life, or the death of Jesus. But there are plenty of people that would deny the resurrection. But you know, as a Christian, our entire faith is built on the truth of the resurrection. When the apostles preached in the early church, they preached one message, and that was the message of the resurrection. You know, in 27 days, we're going to have a global celebration. I would say that every town and every city in Georgia will celebrate the resurrection. I would say that every town in the United States would celebrate the resurrection. And I would even suggest to you and tell you that every continent and every country, even where there are people who do not believe in Jesus, even in those countries where it is illegal to be a Christian, there will be people celebrating the resurrection. And the resurrection is what gives me hope. I think about that song now. You're not supposed to sing here, I understand, but the words of the song that I thought about was, I serve a risen Savior. He's in the world today. I know that he is living, whatever men may say. I see his hand of mercy. I hear his voice of cheer. And just the time I need him, he's always near. He lives. He lives. Christ Jesus lives today. He walks with me and he talks with me along life's narrow way. He lives, salvation to impart. You ask me how I know he lives? He lives within my heart. Let's pray. Father, we do find that there is hope in Christ. Father, we all go through difficult times. We have days in our lives that are cloudy. We have days in our lives that are difficult. Father, even as Christians, even as a pastor, I have days in my life where there is failure. But I thank you that there is hope because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. We love you and we praise you. And I pray for these folks who are gathered today to do the business of our state, folks here gathered in the Senate. I ask that you bless them. I pray that you give them wisdom. I pray, God, that your will would be done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
It's always a pleasure to introduce our Doctor of the Day, and I recognize the Senator from the 9th for that introduction. Senator?
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, members. Today I have the pleasure of introducing the Doctor of the Day, Latifa Watford. She is a doctor of psychiatry. Dr. Letitia Watford is trained in general, child, and adolescent and forensic psychiatrist with over 25 years of clinical experience and over 10 years of clinical leadership experience. Dr. Watford earned her undergraduate degree in chemistry and pre-medication from Florida A&M University. And in her practice treats patients of all ages. She believes caring for a wide spectrum of patients. It enables her to keep the wonder and innocence of child, gently guided by wisdom and insight of the elder. As a psychiatrist, she strives to provide her patients with the tools needed to mend, heal, and move forward in their lives in a healthy manner, and encourages them to take an active role in developing and implementing their treatment plans. So it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Latifa Watford.
Good morning, and thank you so much for allowing me to serve you today. I appreciate the service you provide to us Georgians, and as a Georgian, I also feel like I have a duty to provide services. I really love the message about hope, because as a doctor, that's what I do. I give my patients hope. There will be a better day. We will all get better. I also encourage them to take care of themselves. So today, I'd like to ask all of you guys to make sure you're taking care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you. And all senators, be mindful today about when we have these special presentations. We greatly appreciate having the special presentations, and we want every senator to be able to recognize people from their district. However, be mindful of time and be mindful of the presentation, because we don't want to have something like we did on Thursday where we had a half hour of presentations before we ever get started with the day. So be mindful of that. I recognize we do have some special guests today, and I recognize the senator from the 45th to introduce them. Secretary, read the caption, please.
Senate Resolution 91 by Senator Dixon of the 45th and others, a resolution commending and congratulating Noah M. Donatucci on attaining the rank of Eagle Scout and earning the Bronze Palm and for other purposes. Whereas this hardworking young man is a member of Troop 597 who has demonstrated great leadership skills and initiative during his years with the Scouts BSA program. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Noah M. Donatucci for his diligence and dedication in pursuing the highest honor awarded by the Boy Scouts of America and congratulate him on both attaining the prestigious rank of Eagle Scout and earning the Bronze Palm. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. I'd like to call upon the senator from the 45th to introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm excited to present this resolution passed by the Georgia Senate to commend Noah Donatucci on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout and earning the Bronze Palm. It is an honor that only a few earn, only one of 97 Scouts, in fact. And I know it was only possible through Noah's hard work, commitment to the highest ideals in scouting. Not only through his efforts and leadership to organize an effort to place handmade benches at the Hebron Christian running course, but through years of devotion and commitment in Scouts. This honor is a testament to what a good young man and leader Noah is, and I know he has a bright future ahead. This is only the beginning, and I can tell you firsthand there's a great need for strong leaders like Noah. He's accompanied by his parents, Bill and Sandy, as well as his brother, Kyle, who is also an Eagle Scout, and his sister-in-law, Elizabeth. Congratulations, Noah.
if you didn't catch it, my name is Noah Donatucci. I'd just like to thank a few of the people that helped me with this. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law. Just like to thank you guys for helping me on this journey, and I'd like to thank you all for approving of this, and I'm glad I could learn such qualities of leadership and hope I can apply this to the rest of my life and be leaders like you guys. That's it. Thank you.
Secretary, read the resolution. All right, I recognize the senator from the 44th to introduce our special guest.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues and guests, today we recognize and celebrate the Empire Board of Realtors Day at the Georgia State Capitol. The Empire Board of Realtors is a local chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. The organization is the largest and oldest black trade organization for housing for real estate professionals. And its mission is democracy in housing. We can say that over and over and over again. The new president of the Empire Board of Realtors is Mrs. Archie Emerson. In the gallery are some of our members, and you'll see the ladies in green. Would you all please stand? Let's give them a big hand and welcome them to the Capitol. For the first time in the history of the Empire Board, we have an all-women executive board, which is phenomenal. And as we celebrate Women's History Month, we welcome them to the Capitol. Also in that group is a former president of the Empire Board and a former president from Atlanta of the national president of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, Mr. Ed London. Mr. London, would you please stand? The organization has participated in various meaningful challenges and legislative improvements to establish fair housing for all. So at this time, I would ask the president of the Empire Board, Mrs. Archie Emerson, would she please come and say a few remarks?
Good morning. It is truly an honor for me to be able to speak here to you all today. Thank you so much. I am the 36th president for the Empire Board of Realtors, and we do stand for democracy and housing. We have been here for 84 years, still thriving to change our community. We have set this year saying, many hand, one mission, democracy and housing. We want to change lives for our community to make a difference by making sure that in and everyone that want housing, that we help make that change come here today. We cannot stop. We have been here since 1965 trying to make a change for housing for our community. The black industry, black people still yet falls below with the level of 42%, never going over 50%. It starts here. Over the next 2 years, we will push to move over past that goal, making sure that all that want to have housing, that we give that opportunity. On the national level, Atlanta have served 7 presidents come from the Atlanta chapter. We have also served as 7 women serving on the Women Council at the national level. We are strong here in Atlanta. We want to make sure Atlanta be the first to help the nation see that we can make it a change when it comes to democracy and housing. We thank you for this opportunity to speak. We will fight. We will continue to reach and move to make sure that we have democracy and housing for all. There are still legislators that needs to make changes. There are financial literacy that needs to make change so that we can educate our community to understand if they want housing, we want it for them. Everyone deserves a chance to have. It needs to not only be housing, it needs to be healthy housing. So each and every one can have it. There are so many things going in our community in the state of Georgia, and we want change. We are here to lead that way, and we thank you.
Secretary, read the resolution, please.
Senate Resolution 218 by Senator Walker III of the 20th and others, a resolution congratulating and commending the University of Georgia Archway Partnership and for other purposes. Whereas this outstanding program has given those in rural communities the opportunity to differentiate themselves and improve their quality of life, and whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that the remarkable accomplishments of this extraordinary initiative be appropriately recognized, that now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate and commend the University of Georgia Archway Partnership. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. Glad to have our University of Georgia president here with us today, Jerry Moorhead, and I'd like to call upon Senator from the 20th to speak to the resolution here. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. The University of Georgia is the nation's first state chartered university and first land grant university in the country. As a land grant university, part of its mission is outreach to all the corners of our state. You're familiar, I'm sure, with the Cooperative Extension Service. This is part of their statewide outreach. You're also familiar with 4-H. That's part of their statewide outreach. One area that is really helpful to a lot of rural Georgia that you may not be familiar with is the Archway Partnership. And today we're honoring the Archway Partnership for receiving an award, the C. Peter McGrath Community Engagement Scholarship Award by the Association of Public and Land Grant Universities, which conferred a $20,000 prize, and it's that association's highest honor for public service. Today on the dais I have with me UGA President Jerry Moorhead, Director of the Archway Partnership Michelle Elliott, Executive Committee Chair of the Moultrie-Colquitt County Archway Partnership Chip Blaylock, College of Public Health student Caleb Sneed, and our friend Blake Rawlerson, who helps us here at the Capitol on behalf of the University of Georgia. The Archway program provides a lot of resources to rural communities. Since 2005, they've served numerous Georgia communities and provided over $20 million in community and research grants. And just in the past year alone, they have completed 168 projects. So if you have, a lot of our rural communities do not have, of course, the resources to apply for grants and to do economic development projects. And I encourage you to talk to your communities about the Archway Partnership, have them look into that and perhaps partner with the University of Georgia on this. So, President Moorhead, I'll turn the podium over to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and Senator Walker. It's quite an honor for the University of Georgia to be here today. I want to extend our thanks and appreciation to all of you for the tremendous support that you provide our institution so we can do things like the Archway Partnership. This was a national award given to our institution, recognizing that the university does more for public service and outreach than any other contestant this past year. And we think the Archway Partnership is one of the most important things that we do because it is a way for the university to take our faculty and our students and put them in close connection with communities all across the state. Caleb Sneed, who is a double dog here at the university, is with us this morning. I want to thank him for his great work. I want to express my thanks and appreciation to Chip Blaylock, because working with Colquitt County and the partnership that we have developed has been a tremendous highlight for the University of Georgia and led us to this success. You all might be interested in knowing that the estimated economic impact of this university community partnership with Colquitt County is now calculated at over $225 million. Michelle Elliott, who directs our Archway Partnership, is also with us today, and she is just an outstanding representative of what this program means for the state of Georgia. So as the state's land-grant and sea-grant institution, we work every day to support this state, and we appreciate all of the support that you provide our institution to continue to permit us to do the work that's important for the state of Georgia. So thank you very much, and go Dogs.
All right, good job, good job. Very special to have the Consul General of Israel here with us today. Secretary, read the caption, please.
Senate Resolution 281 by Senator Estevez of the 6th and others, a resolution commending the State of Israel upon its 75th anniversary and for other purposes. Whereas 2023 marks 75 years of robust United States and Israel relations reflected in the relations between the State of Georgia and Israel, of special relationship based on mutually shared democratic values, common strategic interests, and moral bonds of friendship and mutual respect. And whereas the State of Georgia is an unequivocal supporter of the State of Israel and its right to defend itself against terror and any threat to its security. And whereas Georgia is proud to serve as home to the Israeli Consulate General to the southeastern United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend the State of Israel upon its grand occasion of its 75th anniversary, support Israel in its legal, historical, and moral right to its reestablished independence, and recognize the Jewish people's right to self-determination in their ancient homeland. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Is there objection to the adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. I recognize the senator from the 6th to introduce our special guest today.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. I am honored here today on behalf of the residents of Senate District 6 and the co-chairs of the Israel Caucus, the senator from the 56th and the senator from the 43rd, to commend and celebrate the country of Israel on its 75th Independence Day. We all know the importance of Israel and the relationship we have with the country as a state. We not only share values, but have numerous cultural and business relationships between us, and for that we celebrate. And before I invite the Consul General of Israel to come up to speak to us for a moment, I wanted to make sure that as a chamber we dedicate ourselves to tackling some of the issues that we are encountering, not only as a state but as a country, with the rise of anti-Semitism that we've seen. And we have the opportunity to act here soon on a bill that's moving through both chambers, but know that we are committed as a body to working with Israel and the community to tackle what's happening with the rise of anti-Semitism that we're seeing across the country. With that, I'd like to invite up Consul General Anat Sultan Daron, who serves as Consul General in Atlanta and is responsible for promoting all aspects of the bilateral relationships between Israel and 7 states, including Georgia. Anat, the Consul General, has been in Atlanta since July of 2019, and it is my understanding that she has no plans of leaving anytime soon. Consul General.
Shalom. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Jones. Thank you, Senator Estevez, for the warm introduction and for your efforts in bringing forth this beautiful resolution honoring Israel on its 75th Independence Day. Thank you, Senator Anderson and Senator Albers, for your leadership in the Georgia-Israel Legislative Caucus. Jewish visionary Theodor Herzl, who turned Zionism into a political movement 125 years ago, famously wrote, "If you will it, it is no legend, it is no dream." Today, we celebrate the realization of that age-old Zionist dream, and there is so much to celebrate. We celebrate the regaining of sovereignty and control of our destiny and the incredible regathering of our people in our ancestral homeland. In 75 short years, we have established a vibrant democracy, a diverse society, and a robust economy. Israel, one of the smallest countries in the world, is today one of the world leaders in technology and innovation. Minutes after the State of Israel's Declaration of Independence on May 14, 1948, United States President Harry Truman officially recognized our statehood. Since then, the United States has stood steadfast in its support of the nation-state of the Jewish people. Within the United States, the state of Georgia has consistently demonstrated an unwavering support of Israel and of our bilateral relations, which encompass a vast variety of fields: economic, cultural, academic, and more. In 2022, the Georgia-Israel Legislative Caucus was launched, with a list of members continuously growing, a reflection of the strong relations that we enjoy. Alongside the many achievements, one crucial achievement is yet to be fulfilled: peace, fully fulfilled, peace with our neighbors. Peace has been achieved with Egypt and with Jordan, and the Abraham Accords signed in 2020 between Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain are paving the way for a new Middle East, one of partnership and prosperity for those who choose a better tomorrow for their peoples. Both Israel and the United States are fully committed to further expanding this circle of peace. While we will keep pursuing that goal, we will always remain prepared to defend ourselves against any threat to our state and people. Israel's eternal commitment as the nation-state of the Jewish people is that never again will a Jew face hate, danger, and persecution with nowhere to turn. But there must be a global commitment as well. With anti-Semitic incidents reaching an all-time high in the United States, declaring never again on Holocaust Remembrance Day is not enough. Anti-Semitism must be actively and consistently recognized, exposed, and addressed. That is why adopting the IRA working definition of anti-Semitism is of such importance, especially at this time. As we celebrate our accomplishments and as we continue to face challenges, we know that we do not stand alone. I would like to finish by saying thank you, toda rabah, to our many friends here in the Georgia State Senate for your support and commitment to Israel and the continued realization of the dream. Thank you.
That concludes our special presentations today. Are there any unanimous consents? Chair hears none. Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? I recognize the senator from the 35th. You're going to do it right there, Senator? You're going to do it right here?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I am so honored and privileged today to say Happy International Diaspora Day. We have many countries represented downstairs and right here in the chamber with us. We have our consulate generals from, where is he? I was going to let him raise his hand. From Brazil, I see him right now. From India, from the Bahamian consulate, our Jamaican consulate, our Senegalese consulate, our Swiss consulate, our Ghanaian consulate, our ambassador, Dr. Amina Somalia, who is also our Nigerian consulate, our Barbados consulate, Ambassador Isaac and Henrietta Essil from Ghana and their family, the Israel consulate, who you just heard from, and the Senegal Chamber of Commerce. And they're all here, and we have many in the gallery. Please stand and receive a warm welcome from our Senate. So all of the nations that's represented, we thank you for coming. We thank you for the business and trade that you are doing with us. And many of the African, Nigerian folk have come here because they have 5 new House members this year, and they are all from Nigeria, and one unfortunately passed away. So I want us, is it okay to give her a moment of silence?
Yeah. Senators ask for a moment of silence, please.
Amen, and God bless her family and friends. Thank you.
I recognize the senator from the 12th for a point of personal privilege.
Good morning, colleagues. This will be extremely brief, but I hope it's going to be profitable. The Georgia Southwestern State University Lady Hurricanes basketball team is playing in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Division II National Tournament tonight. So let's cheer them on. Thank you so very much, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 13th for on point of personal privilege.
Good morning, colleagues. Everybody remember the college days? Some of the best times we ever had in our life was at college. Somebody else was paying for us to be there. Most of us were getting that way, and Mom and Dad was taking care of us. Well, I had a great college day. I attended many colleges, but of all the colleges I attended, ABAC was my favorite college of all. Abraham Baldwin University College, ABAC. And I'm honored today to ABAC Day today. ABAC's 115 years old, and we're just delighted to have our president here, our first woman president of ABAC College, which is Abraham Baldwin College, Ms. Dr. Tracy Brundage here. Dr. Brundage moved from Pennsylvania 1,000 miles away just to come down here and enjoy the heat and the gnats. Can you imagine that? I mean, I'm telling you, and she said she's used to it, nothing to it whatsoever. She's tickled to death to be here. We're tickled to have her. ABAC is a beautiful, like 530-acre campus, and if you haven't seen ABAC lately or been to Abraham Baldwin, you need to go. You know, ABAC was named after Dr. Abraham Baldwin, who was the signer of the United States Constitution. ABAC, thank you. I met my wife at ABAC. ABAC is one of these things where you just keep it draws you back in because we are proud members of the President's Club at ABAC, and we're so happy to have, there's a bunch of ABAC students over here. You guys stand up if let's give you a hand. ABAC. Got the green and gold on. Go Stallions. Wonderful, wonderful. That's awesome that you all would come here. You know, when I attended ABAC, I rodeoed, I rode bulls, I did all the crazy things in life. It was always fun. Anyway, I'm happy to present this resolution to ABAC, and it says, Justice John Ellington of the Supreme Court of Georgia, Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper, and other members of the General Assembly. Whereas the faculty and staff and the alumni look forward to continuing the mission of ABAC to prepare graduates for life through engaging, teaching, coaching, mentoring, and providing lasting experiences. Therefore, the members of the Senate join together in celebration of this 115th anniversary of Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College. Thank you for allowing me, and thank you, ABAC. Thank you, Dr. Brundage. Thank you.
Always good to have our students at ABAC, and we appreciate Doctor for being here today. And you know, if we can make something out of the senator from the 13th, ABAC can do special things. I can tell you that. So, thank you, and thank you, students, for being here today as well. Recognize the senator from the 25th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I had the privilege of attending Butts County Chamber of Commerce annual banquet Thursday evening, and surprised us all. They named as a Citizen of the Year of Butts County our own Governor, Burt Jones. Just wanted to give him a shout out. If y'all would give him a hand.
I recognize the senator from the 21st for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to congratulate the Kingsridge Christian School basketball team. They won the Class A Division I state championship in Macon over the weekend. It's their first state championship in basketball. They beat their rival, Mount Pisgah, 68-58, 10-point win. Congratulations, Kingsridge. Go Tigers. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Is Kingsridge the Tigers? Are they their mascot? That have anything to do with you being an LSU Tiger? Yeah? All right. I recognize the senator from the 19th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, two things to point out to you today. One, as you know, when immediate family members of senators pass, our tradition has been to provide flowers at their funeral services. Those flowers are not paid for with state funds. They are paid for by our personal donations to the Senate Flower Fund. The Senate Flower Fund's current balance is $310.54. So I will ask, and there's a note on your desk, if you feel desirous of making a contribution to the Senate Flower Fund, please get those donations to Secretary Cook so we can continue our tradition of honoring the immediate family members of those who have passed in the Senate. Additionally, one additional comment. Many of you remember my former assistant and the assistant from the senator from the 17th, Kathleen Kaminsky. Kathleen passed away last year here at this Capitol. You know, she had an aneurysm while we were downstairs in the Appropriations Office. Today, what people may know this about Kathleen, that she kept many foster children, adopted children herself, and was a mother to her grandchildren as well in many ways. At 1:30 today, we'll have a celebration service for Kathleen down in room 230. Those who wish to make a contribution to the trust that has been set up in her honor and her memory for her grandchildren can do so there. That's again today at 1:30 p.m. in room 230 of the Capitol. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for those announcements. Yeah, that fund that you're referring to is very important. It's something we like to do as a Senate body, as a whole body, and it is the funds are getting a little bit depleted. So if some of you senators could find it in your hearts to donate to that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Senator, for making that announcement. Senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick announcement. In the morning tomorrow from 7:30 to 9:30, your Superior Court judges, the council, will have a breakfast across the street at Sloppy Floyd. That's at 7:30. From 7:30 to 9:30 tomorrow, your Superior Court judges, if you want to go across the street and see them for breakfast. Thank you.
Recognize the senator from the 37th for a point of personal privilege.
On behalf of the entire Kennesaw State family, I'd like to congratulate the Kennesaw State men Owls for making the NCAA championship basketball tournament. Kennesaw State in 2004 won the Division II national championship, and the very next year became Division I. They're the number 14 seed in the tournament. They're playing on Friday, and let's hope that the only team from Georgia in the tournament wins their first game and goes far in the bracket. Go Owls.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 16th on a point of personal privilege. You're waving? Okay. Would any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have before you a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Senator from the 26th, for what purpose you rise?
Mr. Governor, according to Senate Rule 4-2.8, parentheses B, in order to pull a bill off the local consent calendar, isn't it true one must be a part of that?
Senator, I think we're on the local consent calendar. I think you're referring to.
We're on the local consent calendar.
This is privilege resolutions, yes, Senator. My apologies there. We'll come back to you on the consent calendar. Senator from the 23rd, you wish to rise?
Mr. President, if it's appropriate, I'd like to request unanimous consent to withdraw and recommit.
Next calendar, next calendar, Senator. We'll call on you in a second. Yep. It's the privilege resolutions is what we have on us right now. Privilege resolutions. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the privilege resolution consent calendar? Chair hearing none. Resolutions and consent calendars are adopted. All right, Senator from the 23rd, I'm ready for your motion. 23rd, I'm ready for your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that House Bill 288 be withdrawn from the Committee on Transportation and be recommitted to the Committee of State and Local Government.
Senator from the 23rd has asked for unanimous consent to have House Bill 288 withdrawn from the Committee of Transportation and committed to the Committee of State and Local Government. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 288 by Representative Parrish of the 158th, a bill to be entitled an act to create the East Georgia Regional Airport Authority to provide for a short title and legislative findings, to provide for the membership and the appointment and removal of members of the authority and their terms of office. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection from the Senator from 23rd asking that House Bill 288 be moved from transportation to state and local government? Is there objection to that? Without objection, the motion is granted. Senator from the 17th, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Senator from the 20th,
I ask unanimous consent that House Bill 563 be withdrawn from the Committee on Insurance and Labor and be committed to the Committee on Judiciary.
All right. Senator has asked that HB 563 be withdrawn from Insurance and Labor, and you're doing this for the chairman of Insurance and Labor, and recommitted to Judiciary, which you're the chair of yourself. Correct, Senator? All right. Secretary, read the caption, please.
House Bill 563 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 19 of Title 45 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, the Fair Employment Practices Act of 1978, so as to provide for hearing before an administrative law judge, to change provisions relative to the appointment of hearing officers, to provide for a definition, to provide the administrator of the Commission on Equal Opportunity with the power to order discovery. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objections to the chairman's motion? Without objection, motion is granted. You have before you a consent calendar of local bills. Mr. Secretary, have any objections been filed to any of the bills on the local consent calendar?
Mr. President, no objection has been filed.
I recognize the senator from the 26th. What purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. President, according to Senate Rule 4-2.8, parentheses B, one would have to be a member or cover that particular area involved and have two senators sign on to object to the bill being on the local consent calendar. Am I correct?
That's correct, Senator.
Isn't it true that Senate Bill 277 makes the County Commission of Scriven County appoint all members to 4-year terms on the Board of Elections? Isn't it further true that whoever the majority of that board is will probably appoint folks and not give any other people an opportunity to have discussion about election matters on that in that Board of Elections?
The senator is entitled to his opinion, and it is duly noted that you object to it. However, I know you're not part of that delegation there, so But it is duly noted, Senator.
So, Mr. President, isn't it also true then the only way that I can object to it is to vote no on the local consent calendar?
Senator knows what he speaks. Thank you, Senator. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the Committee on the State and Local Government Operations, which is favorable to the passage of the bill on the local consent calendar? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. The question is on the passage of the bill of the local consent calendar. All those are in favor will vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 44 and the nays are 7. This bill having the local consent calendar of the local consent calendar having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. I recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that the reading of the names of the governor's appointments to various boards, authorities, and commissions be dispensed with since they have been printed and placed on the desk of each senator.
Secretary, read the confirmation.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Assignments has had under consideration the appointments made by the governor submitted to the Senate on February 13th, 2023 that require Senate confirmation, has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that the appointments be confirmed as submitted. Respectfully submitted, Honorable Burt Jones, Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The majority leader has asked for unanimous consent that the reading of the names be dispensed with. Is there objection? Hearing none, the readings of the names is dispensed with. I recognize the majority leader for another motion.
President, I ask for unanimous consent that one roll call suffice to confirm all appointments unless any senator designates that an appointee be removed from the list and voted on individually.
The majority leader has asked unanimous consent that a roll call vote will be sufficient for the approval of the nominees. Is there objection to the senator's motion? Does any senator wish to separate a vote on any of the individuals presented? Hearing none, the Senate will proceed with a roll call vote. All those in favor will signify by saying yay. All those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the confirmation of the governor's appointees, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 4. The governor's appointees are therefore confirmed. Moving on to the rules calendar. We have HB 147. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 147 by Representative Wade of the 9th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to elementary and secondary education so as to provide for a school safety and anti-gang endorsement for eligible certificate professional personnel issued by the Professional Standards Commission to require school safety plans to be submitted to the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. That completes. Senator Merritt of the 9th offers the following amendment: Amendment 1 to amend House Bill 147 by striking on line 26 and for identifying and deterring youth gangs.
I recognize hold on one second.
Senator Merritt of the 9th offers the following Amendment 1A to amend Amendment 1 to House Bill 147 by add in Amendment 1 the following, striking on line 39 and 40 and for identifying and deterring youth gangs. Senator Estevez of the 6th offers the following amendment, Amendment 2 to House Bill 147 by deleting may on line 82 and replacing it with shall annually. Senator Mallow of the 2nd and Merritt of the 9th offer the following amendment, Amendment 3 to amend House Bill 147 by striking, deterring, and adding prevention on line 26. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize Senator from the 3rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise to bring you Governor's Bill, House Bill 147. This is the Governor's Safe Schools Act. It continues his commitment of keeping Georgia's students, teachers, and school personnel safe. This bill modernizes school safety protocols to the year 2023 by requiring intruder alert drills and equipping our teachers with skills they need to protect students in their classrooms. This piece of legislation has been vetted by superintendents, state agencies, and education advocacy groups that represent teachers, school leaders, and local boards of education. There's no greater priority than keeping our children, teachers, and personnel safe. Legislation has 4 parts. It establishes a voluntary school safety and anti-gang endorsement for current teachers. This endorsement will be established by the Georgia Professional Standards Commission in consultation with the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency, the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, and the Department of Juvenile Justice. Secondly, the bill encourages colleges and universities with teacher preparation programs to include training in best practices for promoting and preserving safe schools and identifying and deterring youth gangs. Thirdly, the bill ensures that school safety plans are submitted to the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. This will allow the state to ensure plans are effective and are best practices. This is not an additional burden. Districts already submit these same plans to local law enforcement and their local emergency management agency. And then finally, the bill requires schools to conduct an intruder alert drill before October 1st of each year. Districts must report the completion of the drill to the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. All students must participate in the intruder alert bill. However, in recognition of local control, the governing body of a local school system or public school may provide an option for a child's parent or legal guardian to elect in writing that such child not participate in intruder alert bills. Mr. President, colleagues, this is it's a good bill. Promotes the safety of our children and our education personnel in our schools. I ask for favorable consideration, and I yield the well for questions.
You do have a question, Senator. Senator from the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does Senator yield?
I do.
Senator, first of all, I want to thank you for carrying this important piece of legislation. Is it not true that it is important for each and every student, teacher, and any other individual who works day to day on our school campuses to understand all emergency plans in great detail based on the society we live in today?
I believe the senator knows of what he speaks.
Senator, further yield?
I do.
Senator, my generation and possibly yours, did we not grow up in a public school system that did fire drills on a regular basis?
We certainly did.
Senator, further yield?
I do.
Senator, were you or I ever allowed to opt out of participating in a fire drill?
No, Senator, I was not.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
You have no more questions, Senator.
Thank you. I yield the well.
Recognize the senator from the 9th to speak to Amendments 1 and 1A, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand the intent of this bill. As a matter of fact, I support the intent of the bill. We always want more school safety. Fully supportive, but I do think that this bill was kind of rushed through without addressing some significant concerns. And one I have is my amendment is to strike the "and for identifying and deterring youth groups." And the reason for that, I'm concerned that identification-focused training could result in racial profiling of students, and it could increase their likelihood that they'll be exposed to the criminal justice system. Now, I get what we're trying to do here, but we know sometimes there's biases in schools and in teachers, and sometimes those biases are directed at people of color. That's just the society that we're living in. So I want to make sure that we're very clear, or that we are just more mindful of some of the implications of that bill and the wording there, to avoid any type of racial profiling. And additionally, schools play a unique role in gang violence intervention and prevention already. And it's a community role. And it is part of a larger community role that we need. So if we're trying to work on prevention, we need to already use what we have in place in our communities and in our schools. And right now, we already have a request of organizations to develop training. So that's already in place. So we should keep that in place and just adhere to that. So those are my concerns, and that was the reason for my amendment, and I ask for your consideration, and I yield the well.
Senator from the 6th, speak to amendment number 2, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I offer Amendment 2 to help further the intent behind the bill, which of course I appreciate, but also ensuring that our parents have the options. And I know in this chamber we've spoken about parents' rights many times, and with this bill, there's a specific provision that allows for districts to have parent opt-outs. Those opt-outs, however, are optional, and if we are going to provide parents with the ability to opt out, then we should make that something that school districts do, and that they do on an annual basis. Because if we allow school districts, or if we tell them to allow an opt-out, and they only do it once, that's additional record keeping that school district would have to do to figure out which students opted out in which year. By making it annually, it allows school districts to very easily, on an annual basis, determine whether a parent has opted out, and record keeping would be much easier. So the amendment is intended to be a friendly one and is intended to help school districts meet this mandate, but also give parents the opportunity to opt out of these drills. And I want to make it clear that these drills are not like the fire drill that we've had in the past. These are active intruder drills, and those may be somewhat common in certain places, but in the vast majority of the state, active intruder drills are not common and can induce a certain degree of trauma. So I ask for your support of Amendment 2, but I also ask us to look deeper into the root causes of these issues. We do live in a society where we have intruders with weapons enter school buildings. We do live in a society where we have students enter school buildings with weapons. And I want to make it clear that the vast majority of incidents with guns on campus are not done by intruders who have no relation to the campus. The vast majority of these incidents are done are students who bring weapons to campuses, to their campus. And 80% of these incidents where a student brings a weapon to campus, those students obtain those weapons from home, or from a relative's home. So if we want to try to tackle root causes and prevent the need for these drills in the first place, then we should be joining radically liberal states like Texas and Florida. I joke on that. But we should join states like Texas and Florida that have laws that hold gun owners responsible for securing their weapons away from children. I think that's something reasonable that we can do as a body, and it would ensure that incidents like these are actually prevented. Thank you, Mr. President. If I don't have any questions, I'll yield the well.
You do have a couple questions. Senator from the 14th, you wish to rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield?
Yes.
Senator, would you agree with me, speaking to the nuts and bolts of your amendment in terms of the opt-in, opt-out provision, that the real focus of these drills, to the extent that they're useful, is for staff and employees, teachers at schools to know what kind of playbook they're running and to practice coordinating student movements such that if one or two parents or however many opt out, it's not going to make any sort of meaningful difference in terms of the value of the drill?
Absolutely. And I'm also thinking about those students with special needs, with ADA accommodations, with 504 plans who may need to opt out anyway. And this just provides them that avenue. It requires school districts to think about those needs.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator from the 9th, you wish to rise for a question?
Senator, do you yield?
Yes.
Are you aware that just last session we passed HB 1178, a parental rights bill?
The senator knows of what she speaks.
And this was to provide protection for the fundamental right of parents to direct the upbringing and education of their minor children from undue infringement by state or local government entity. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
But yet we're questioning in this bill the right to opt in and out. Is that not correct?
Well, that's why I want to make sure that we offer parents that option and that we do it annually.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, I will yield.
You have no
the well.
further questions.
All right. Thank you very much.
Call on the senator from the 2nd to speak to Amendment 3.
Thank you, colleagues. I'll be brief. Amendment 3 is a very simple amendment. It just strikes deterring on line 26 and adding preventing. Simply, word choice is important. Deterring means the action of discouraging, and prevention means the action of stopping something from happening or arising. And I think when we talk about gangs in school, we need to talk about the prevention aspect. And I always quote that great philosopher that says, an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. So we ought to be looking at the prevention aspect, especially when we come to gangs, and we're going to educate and teach folks about it. So I just want them to focus on the prevention aspect. Let's not deter it. Let's prevent it. Let's get in front of it so that we'll know what we're dealing with. Easy amendment. I think we can all vote for it. I'd ask for my colleagues to support it, and I'll be brief in the well so that you can. And with that, Mr. President, I'll yield the well.
Senator yield as well. I'll call on the senator from the 42nd to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. I'm not rising in opposition to this bill, although it does bear at least a brief note that research on active shooter drills show, and this is research from the American Psychological Association, shows that active shooter drills make students feel unsafe, scared, helpless, and sad, and that their efficacy is sadly questionable. But I'm not opposed to the mandate of the active shooter drills. The issue I have with the bill is what isn't said in this legislation. When I was in elementary school, we did fire drills. The prospect of an active shooter drill with an active shooter with deadly weapons racing through the hallways of my elementary, high school, middle school was not something that I ever had to contemplate. The fact that we do have this bill and today's kids do have to contemplate such a terrifying situation, and unfortunately we've had far more mass shooter and simply guns in schools incidents over the last few years, demonstrates the magnitude of the ever-increasing public health issue that we have here in our state. And this bill, unfortunately, highlights our failure year after year to make meaningful changes that would address the gun violence that is plaguing our schools, our communities, our streets, and our homes. I've said it a couple times at the well so far this year, but it definitely bears repeating. Guns have for a number of years now been the #1 cause of death among children. We are failing our kids every day by bringing up bills like this that do not even attempt to deal with that issue, among others that are causing the public health crisis of gun violence in our schools and in our communities. This bill offers a suggestion of control, the ability to outrun a shooter with a deadly weapon. If only we could, but we can't. Prevention of school shootings must involve a comprehensive approach if we are serious, including gun safety and gun violence prevention and mental health strategies. What we are offering here is simply an illusion. We could do better, but we refuse to. There have been a number of bills filed in the House and here in the Senate that would have sent a message loud and clear to our children that we are serious about protecting them from dying in a random shooting or having their lives taken by everyday gun violence, which is an everyday and weekly occurrence. But not one of those bills has even gotten a hearing. So instead, we're here with a bill that offers synthetic protection against the random actions of a shooter, illusory protection. These shooters are often young enough to have been schooled in these drills and will know how to navigate the building. We should not leave our kids to fend for themselves when in extreme danger because we played ostrich and refused to address the myriad issues that are causing the crisis not only in everyday gun violence, but also in school shootings. We should work to ameliorate the risks that come inherent with living in a country that has more guns with people, including measures that are proven by research to be very effective, universal background checks, red flag laws, training requirements, and last but certainly not least, near and dear to my heart, safe storage laws around children. Research proves the efficacy of these measures. They will make our society safer without infringing on the right to bear arms. These active shooter drills are traumatizing in and of themselves because they are a reminder of the danger lurking in every corner of a school and our failure to address the factors that cause this danger. Thank you, Mr. President. If I have no questions, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator?
No
You have
questions.
no questions, Senator?
Thank you. I yield the well.
Senator from the 53rd, you'd like to speak? Oh, I apologize, Senator. Senator from the 12th, are you requesting for the thing that you asked me about earlier? Well, let's hold it until we get finished with the bill here, and then I'll let you come down, okay? Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection for the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Senator from the 3rd, would you like to close debate?
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the thoughts of my colleagues, but I disagree. I do believe there was a lot of thought and a lot of care that went into the crafting of this bill. I think that the amendment number 2 is a slap in the face to the concept of local control, and because of the care and the thought that went into the bill, I'm not in favor of the other amendments either. I will object to all amendments. Thank you very much. I yield the well.
Senator has yielded the well. Okay, because of the way these amendments are written, we're going to go in a little different order than what we would usually do. We're going to start with Amendment 3. Amendment 3, authored by the senator from the 2nd. The question is on the adoption of Amendment 3 from the senator from the 2nd. Is there objection to the adoption of Amendment 3? Objection from the author, which is the senator from the 3rd. All those in favor of Amendment 3 will vote yea. All opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On adoption of the Amendment 1, on Amendment 3, the yeas are 22 and the nays are 33, and the amendment has lost. On Amendment 1A from Senator from the 9th, Amendment 1A, authored by the Senator from the 9th. Is there objection to Amendment 1A? Objection from the author of the bill, from the Senator from the 3rd. All those in favor of Amendment 1A will vote yea. All those opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the adoption of 1A, the yeas are 21 and the nays are 33, and this amendment has been defeated. Moving on to Amendment 1. Amendment 1, authored by the Senator from the 9th. Is there objection to Amendment 1? The author of the bill, underlining bill, has objected. And all those in favor of Amendment 1 will vote yea. Those opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the adoption of Amendment 1, the yeas are 21, the nays are 33, and this amendment has failed as well. On the last amendment, Amendment 2, authored by the senator from the 6th, is there objection to Amendment 2? The author of the underlying bill from the 3rd has objected to Amendment 2. All those in favor of Amendment 2 will signify by saying yay. All those opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the adoption of Amendment 2, the yeas are 25 and the nays are 30, and this amendment has been defeated. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 52 and the nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. I want to recognize the senator from the 12th. I know she's got something she'd like to come to the well, and I'm going a little out of order, but the senator from the 12th is one of my favorite senators who never asks for anything at all. So, Senator, I'm going to yield the well to you here.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a special, special treat. I want to welcome as the youngsters from Terrell Academy in Dawson, Georgia. These are 5th graders. This was a very appropriate debate that they heard this morning. So would you all please stand, and would you all please welcome them? This is Terrell Academy. Please stand. Miss Jenna Webb and Mark Masters are helping to chaperone today, and we thank you so very much for coming and joining us from so far South Georgia. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator, and it is good to have all the young folks in the gallery today. Moving on the rules calendar, HB 155. Secretary, read the caption, please.
House Bill 155 by Representative Martin of the 49th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions of professions and businesses so as to provide for the issuance of licenses by endorsement for certain licenses to spouses of firefighters, healthcare providers, and law enforcement officers who relocate to the state of Georgia. The Committee of the Senate on Regulated Industries and Utilities recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Cowsert of the 46th District. Senator Dolezal of the 27th offers the following amendment to amend House Bill 155 by deleting Chapter 1 of and general provisions on lines 1 and 2 respectively, and adding to change provisions relative to the licensing and regulation of certain professions and business after so as on line 2 by replacing applicability on line 8 with applicability as to the issuance of licenses by endorsement, to remove an exception permitting certain ticket resale restrictions to provide that ticket resale provisions are void and against public policy. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 56 to speak to the bill, please. The Chair of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor to bring House Bill 155 before you today. This is a continuation of the great work many of us have supported over the years, where we did a license by endorsement. In the beginning, this was specifically done for our active duty and transitioning members of the military spouses. So when they were transferred here or they were departing from any one of our services, that they would have easy access to take the credentials they may have earned in another state and use them here in Georgia. Again, the program has worked so well, now we want to expand that to all parties. The difference is now each one of the folks seeking those licenses will have to have been in good standing from the state from which they came from, but this specifically exempts 3 categories, which you'll see under the definitions of this bill, which are firefighters, healthcare workers, and law enforcement officers. It is important to note that most of those have either national certifications or specific venues in order to test and credential within our state. Again, this is a pretty straightforward bill, Mr. President. I'd be glad to yield for questions. If not, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Senator from the 36th, you had a question. I'm sorry, Senator. I didn't see you button until. Recognize the senator from the 27th to speak to the amendment.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to withdraw Amendment 1.
Senator has asked for unanimous consent to withdraw Amendment 1. Is there objection to that? Without objection, Amendment 1 is withdrawn. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor will vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 54 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Moving on to HB 165. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 165 by Representative New of the 64th and others, the bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 501872 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to when public disclosure not required relative to the inspection of public records so as to include certain documents from the Department of Natural Resources. The Committee of the Senate on Natural Resources and the Environment recommends that this bill do pass. Respectively submitted, Senator Anderson of the 24th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from 36, for what purpose do you rise?
I rise for the purpose of requesting unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 34th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 34th is excused. I recognize the senator from the 31st to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be brief. House Bill 165, also known as the Indiana Jones Bill, from the Department of Natural Resources. In 2020, Historic Preservations Division was transferred from DNR to DCA. In this transfer, the Georgia Open Records Act exemption for sensitive historical archaeological records was moved from DNR to DCA. However, DNR retained the Office of the State Archaeologist, which houses our historic sites, cemeteries, and Native American burial grounds. This bill would simply restore that exemption back to the agency where it should be. With that, Mr. President, I yield the will.
Senator has yielded the well. Does any senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. That is an interesting coalition of no votes right there now. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the yeas are 5. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. We might want to revisit that one, looking at those no votes. Moving on to the rules calendar, HB 332. Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 332 by Representative Parrish of the 158th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 13 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to controlled substances so as to provide for certain provisions relating to Schedule I controlled substances, Schedule 4 controlled substances, and Schedule 5 controlled substances. The Committee of the Senate on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Sarah Watson of the 1st District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from the 1st to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the annual update relating to dangerous drugs, the scheduled drugs that we see, the DEA schedules, and this is an update on those, and that's all it does. Mr. President, I would ask for your favorable consideration, and
you have no questions, Senator. Does any senator wish to speak for or against the measure? Chair hears none. Is there objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. The question is on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 54 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. I recognize the majority leader for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Tuesday, March 14th.
Secretary will read the announcements.
The Rules Committee meeting will happen upon adjournment in 450 of the Capitol. The Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee meeting will happen at 1 p.m. in 450 of the Capitol. The Transportation Committee meeting will happen at 1 p.m. in Mezzanine 1 of the Capitol. The Government Oversight Committee meeting will happen at 2 p.m. in 307 CLOB. The Health and Human Services Mental Health Parity Subcommittee meeting will happen at 2 p.m. 450 of the Capitol. The Finance Committee meeting will happen at 3 p.m. in Mezz 1 of the Capitol. And the Judiciary Committee meeting will happen at 4 p.m. 307 CLOB. That completes the order, Mr. President.
All right. Also, a reminder, tomorrow is our panoramic picture for the Senate. It is our picture for the Senate. All those will be present. All those that want yourself in the picture, be present. If you don't want yourself in the picture, just don't come, and we won't take it. So, but we hope everybody can be there and be present. And I know the senator from the 15th will be looking especially dapper for that occasion. So, also, kickball next week. We got a kickball tournament between the House and the Senate. Mark your calendar, 3/21 next week at 5:30 down at the Georgia State football field. So, be sure to tape your ankles before the game. The majority leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourned until tomorrow at 10 a.m. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it. We are adjourned.